Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of Morphology of Flowering Plants. So in today's session, we are going to study uh, the different morphological features of a plant. Okay, so in that respect, there is an introduction, that is what is the meaning of the morphology of flowering plants. So let us see that. So in wide range, the wide range in the structure of higher plants will never fail to fascinate us. Okay, so there are so many different types of plants if we see the higher plants. So even though the angiosperm shows such a large diversity in the external structure of morphology, they are all characterized by the presence of root, stem, leaves, flowers, and fruits. So such are the features. Okay, they are having what morphological features we see. Okay, we talk about the plant, then what morphological features we are seeing. The first thing, then we are looking about the roots. So we will talk about roots of higher plants in this session. Okay, then comes the stems. We will also talk about the stem of the plant, what type of stem they are having. We will talk about that. Then we will talk about the leaves, different types of leaves they are having. We will talk about that. And obviously then comes the flowers and fruits. So all these things we are going to discuss. There are different types of roots, there are different types of stems, and modifications of stems we can see. Leaves, there are different types of leaves as well, and flowers and fruits also. So in chapter 2 and 3, that we have talked about the classification of plant, biological classification and plant kingdom. That is totally based on the classification of plants, right? And here we are talking about the morphological and other characteristics. So let us see how we are going to deal with this morphology. So for any successful attempt to classification and at understanding any higher plant, we need to know the standard technical terms and standard definition, right? So there are some standard technical terms in terms of morphology. So when you are studying the morphology of flowering plants, then you will have some standard technical terms, okay, and standard definition as well, that you have to follow. Standard technical terms and standard definition, right? So we also need to know about the possible variations in the different parts. Variation means types. If you are studying about the roots, then there must be different types of roots. If you are studying about the stem, then there must be different types of stems, because all the stems are not of the same type. There are so many modifications in the stem, right? So that shows the variation. And we will also talk about the adaptation of the plants to their environment, why they are having different types of roots, why they are having the different types of stem, because every plant is adapted to grow in a different environment. Okay, and for that to get adjusted in that environment, they modify their parts, they modify stem, they modified roots, they modify leaves. Okay, so adaptation to the various habitat, for example, for the protection, for storage of food, for climbing, right? Yes, storage also. So for this we see different types of variation in the morphological features. Morphological features means the roots, the stems, the leaves. These are the morphological features. Okay, and there are so many modifications, and that gives you the variation in that particular parts of the plant. So we will deal all these things in this particular session. So if you pull out any weed, you will see that all of them have root, stem, and leaves. So any weed is a weak plant, right? It comes under the herbs. So if you are taking out any weed, Suppose this is any weed, so it will have roots like this, okay, small part of a stem and leaves. They may be bearing flowers and fruit, and sometimes they may be having flowers and sometimes also the fruits. So this we are talking about the weed. Weed is a unwanted plants, the plant which are growing with the our crop plants. But we do not want these weeds to grow with our crop plants because they compete with the nutrients, the sunlight. Okay. And what happened? The crop will not get the proper nutrients from the soil, proper sunlight, and there will be a stunted growth of the crop. Okay, and weed will flourish over there. So weeds are the unwanted plant that we do not want to grow with our crop plants. But yes, they do have roots, stem and leaves, and they also bear the flowers and fruits. So here we can see a very typical flowering plants. Okay, so underground parts of the flowering plants is the root system. So there are two types of system. Two types of system we see in the flowering plant. The first is the root system. Root system. And second is the shoot system. Shoot system. Okay, the underground part, this root system is present underground, and this shoot system is present above the ground, So here in the figure you can see this line is showing the soil surface, and below it you are having this root system. This is the root. There is the primary root, one main root that is called as the primary root, and from that primary root many roots comes out, that shows the secondary root. Okay, but total this primary root and secondary root, that forms the root system. Now coming to the shoot system. If you see the shoot system, then you can see the first thing, that is the stem part. Okay, and the stem part is having nodes and internodes. So from the nodes you can see the leaves are coming out. Every node is giving rise the leaves, and from the axil of the leaves you can see the buds is coming out. They are also bearing the flowers, well developed flowers, and this flowers, the female part get mature. Okay, then after fertilization it forms the fruit as well. So all these part comes under the shoot system. Okay, the majority of the dicotyledonous plant, the direct elongation of the radicle leads to the formation of primary roots which grows inside the soil. So let us talk about any seed that is germinating. Okay, first of all, what comes out? Okay, the roots, and it is having one main root, that is forming the primary root. This is the radicle, and radicle is having the primary root. It bears the lateral roots of several order that are referred to as secondary and tertiary roots. So later what happened? The primary root grows very fast and grows downward. Okay, and it gives rise the secondary roots. It gives rise secondary roots like this, and sometimes the secondary root give rise to the tertiary root as well. So this is the primary root. This is the secondary root. And these are the tertiary root. In total, they form the root system. Okay. So the primary root and its branches constitute the tap root. So this is the one main root that is considered as a tap root, and it is seen in the mustard plant. So here you can see this is the main root, and from that you can see the lateral branches coming out. Okay, so all these constitute the main, this is the tap root. Okay, in the case of this carrot also, when you see the carrot, this is the tap root. In the case of turnip also, tap root. In the case of radish, tap root. Okay, so all these are showing the tap root. In monocotyledonous plant, so this tap root is a very important feature of the dicotyledonous plant. Now if you talk about the monocotyledonous plant, then the primary root is short-lived and it is replaced by the large number of roots. Okay, so there is also a primary root, but it is a very short-lived in the case of monocot. So in the monocot, you can see from the base of the stem, many roots are emerging. Not a single, many roots are emerging out. So you cannot say that this particular one is the tap root and other are the some lateral. No, from one particular base, this is the base. From one particular base, many roots are emerging out, and that forms the fibrous root system. Fibrous root system. So we can see the two types of system in the case of this roots, that is the tap root system and the fibrous root system. In case of this monocotyledonous plant, we are having the fibrous root system, whereas in the case of dicotyledonous plant, we are having the tap root system. This is a very important feature between the dicot and monocot plant. So here you can see the fibrous root, very important, fibrous root. Many, you can see there's a branch is coming out. Okay, so these roots originate from the base of the stem and constitute the fibrous root system, as we can see in the case of wheat plant, rice plant, and also in the case of maize, corn. So this is showing the fibrous root system in the case of monocot plant. Very, very important. Now, in some plants, a part of the tap root system and the fibrous root system, okay, we are having one more different types of root system. So in some plants like grass, monstera, and banyan tree, the roots arise from the parts of the plant other than the radicle and are called as adventitious roots. Okay, so here you can see the adventitious roots. It means that, suppose this is a stem, this is the stem, okay, they're having the nodes and internodes, so they are giving rise to roots from the nodal region. Okay, so it must be having some this at the base, the plant is attached, okay, and there must be having roots over there. But from the stem nodal region, we can see some other roots are also emerging out. This is not a fibrous root. Fibrous root is here. This is the fibrous root. This is the fibrous root because it is grass. We are taking in the example of grass, then there must be a fibrous root. So, but this occur in dicot as well as monocot, both the type of, right? So banyan tree, it is a dicot plant, right? And in that banyan tree also we can see this adventitious root, right? So you see this hair like structures that is coming out, and this is called as adventitious roots. Adventitious roots. Very, very important. So So not what are the examples? Sometimes the examples it is asked in the examination. So grass, monstera, banyan tree, roots arise from parts of the plant other than the radicle, and that are called as the adventitious root. So here this is showing one of the hair like structure that is emerging out all over. Okay, so this is the adventitious root. So adventitious roots help the plants to get attached to any substratum. The main function of the root system are absorption of water and mineral from the soil. So what is the main function of this root? The main function of this root system is to absorb the water and minerals from the soil. Yes. So they first, what they do, they absorb the minerals and water from the soil, providing the proper anchorage to the plant, because plant has to be like erect so that they can get the proper sunlight, right? They have to stand erect so that they can get the proper sunlight. So for that, they need a proper anchorage. They need a proper anchorage to, so that they can, and some of this root is also serving as a storage of food material. Storage of food material and synthesis of plant growth regulators. Some plants hormones are also synthesized. So let us see what they do. The roots functions: absorption of water and minerals. The first thing, this is the very important function, minerals. And second thing, providing anchorage to the plant part, right? So they make the plant stand erect at one particular position, so that when the plant is stand erect, it can get proper sunlight. Okay, they also serve as a storage of reserve food material. Next is the synthesis of plant growth regulator. So plants hormones are also get synthesized in the roots, so that is also very important for the growth of the plant. Now, regions of the root, very, very important. What are the different regions of the root? So if you take any well-developed root, you can see 3 different regions. Okay. Now, let us see what are those 3 different regions. The root is covered at the apex by the thimble-like structure that is called as root cap. So here you can see at the apex, the root cap is present. The region of meristematic activity, just below it, you can see one region that is called as the region of meristematic activity. Here, the cells are dividing vigorously. Very fast, the divisions of the cells is taking place. And this is one of the characteristic of the meristematic cell, right? So the cells, meristematic cells, are very active at this particular region. But at this region, these meristematic cells are covered by the root cap. Now you can understand what is the function of root cap then here. Root cap is protecting this region of the meristematic activity. Yani this meristematic activity cells are protected by this root cap, so that there must be friction when the root is going downward. There must be friction. They must be getting friction of the soil particles, and that can destroy the meristematic cells. Now, who is protecting that meristematic cell? These root caps. Okay. Now, if you move upward towards the region of meristematic activity, then there is a region of elongation. So what happened? The cells that got actively divided, then it get elongated. Okay, elongation of the cell is going on here. And after the elongation, the cells get mature. So there is a region of maturation. So mature cells give rise to new hairs, and that you can see is the root hair. So in the examination, it can be asked, root hairs are present in the region of maturation, region of elongation, region of meristematic activity, or the root cap. So the root hairs are present at the region of maturation. Very, very important point. So regions of the root, here we can see again, it protects the tender apex of the root and it makes its way through the soil. Who is protecting? Root cap. Root cap is protecting that tender apex. Tender means a very delicate part is that, and that is having meristematic cells activity, right? This tender apex. Okay, the root as it makes its way to the soil. A few millimeter above the root cap is the region of meristematic activity. The cells of this region are very small, thin walled, and with the dense cytoplasm. So they are under the division phase. They are dividing repeatedly, and that is showing the meristematic activity. Now comes the regions of the root, another region, that is the cells proximal to this region, means above. Okay, from the above to the this meristematic zone, there is a region that undergo rapid elongation. The cells are getting elongated after division and enlargement, and are responsible for the growth of the root in the length. Okay, so the root is going downward as there is an elongation. So this region is called as region of elongation, that we have already seen in the figure, region of elongation. Now the cells of the elongation zone gradually differentiate and mature. Okay, the cells of this elongation zone gradually differentiate and also get mature. So that forms the maturation zone. Hence, this zone proximal to the region of elongation is called the region of maturation, and this is called the region of maturation. And later this region gives rise to the numerous root hairs. From this region only. From this region means the region of maturation. Maturation. The region of maturation, some of the epidermal cells form very fine and delicate thread-like structures that are called as root hairs. And these root hairs absorb water and minerals from the soil. So they are absorbing the water and minerals from the soil. What are the features that distinguish stem from a root? There are many different features that you can distinguish, that the stem is having the different features and the root is having the different features. Some of the features are the stem is ascending part and the axial bearing the branches, leaves, flowers and fruit. Okay, the stem is growing upward. It is moving upward and it bears leaves. Okay, and it also bears the branches. Okay, branches and flowers and fruits. Sometimes it bears the flowers and sometimes it also bears the fruits. Okay, fruits. This is the flower. This is the branches. So this you see in the case of shoot. Okay, it develops from the plumule of the embryo of a germinating seed. So from where it is coming out? It is coming out from the plumule region, because when you see the seed, some leaf-like structure is coming out and there is a radicle that forms the root. Now this part that forming the leaf-like structure, that is called as the plumule. So this shoot system is made by this plumule. The The region of the stem where the leaves are born are called as nodes. So wherever you see the, okay, this is the stem. Okay, at some region you can see the leaves are attached like this. So this is the nodal region. Nodal region. And in between these two nodes, there is an internode. Okay. The stem bears buds which may be terminal or axillary. So two types of buds can be there at the terminal point, at the tip point. Okay, that is called as terminal bud. Terminal bud. And sometime at the nodal region where the leaves are attached, axillary buds comes out. Axillary buds. So terminal bud, it is moving upward. It helps the plant to grow upward, whereas this branches are coming out from the axillary bud. Okay. After the stem, we are going to study about the leaves. Okay. So the leaf is a lateral, generally flattened structure born on the stem. So where the leaves are born, suppose this is the stem, right? On the stem, we are having the two regions, that is the nodes and internodes, right? So suppose these are the two nodes. Okay. So here we are having some adnodal. Okay. So they are generally the flattened structure born on the stem. So if you see the structure of a leaf, it is a dorsiventral flattened structure. So this is the dorsal region, the upper region, dorsal, okay, and the below is the ventral. And what you see here, there is a midrib. And midrib, they give rise to this veins. Okay, like this we can see the veins. And even the veins divide and redivide like this and form a net-like structure. And this is called as venation of the leaf. Now this venation is type of reticulate. Reticulate venation. Right? This is a feature of the dicot plant. This is the feature of the dicot plant. So let us see where what are some of the other features of the leaf. It develops at the node and bears a bud in its axil. So whenever the leaf is born on the node, what you see, suppose this is the bud and this is the leaf. Okay, so there is an axil. This is the stem region and this is the petiole region of the leaf. So where the two joins at the nodal region, there emerges a bud. This bud is called as axillary bud. Axillary bud. And this axillary bud later develops into a new branch. It develops into a new branch. So the axillary bud later develops into a branch. And at the nodal region, each bears a bud in its axil. So at the nodal region, we say that leaf is also attached, but at the same time, in the axil of the leaf, there is an axillary bud. Now, when this axillary bud grow, and it is growing because of the lateral meristem. Okay, there is a growth. This is because of the lateral meristematic tissue. And this lateral meristematic tissue divide and redivide and form the axillary bud. Now, axillary bud when grow, it give rise to a new branch. Now, leaf originate from the shoot apical meristem. So here you can see there is an apical meristem, and the apical meristem is present where? The apical meristem is present at the apex. Suppose this is the stem. Okay, so this is the apex. Apex. It is having the two apex. It is having the two apex. Okay, the shoot apex and the root apex. So we are talking about here the shoot apex. So at the shoot apex, you can see there is an apical meristems and are arranged in an acropetal order. Okay, so the Acropetal order means the mature leaves are below, whereas the new leaves are present at the above. So these are the mature leaves. This is the mature. And the new leaves are, you can see, it is emerging out here. New leaf. It is emerging out. They are the most important vegetative organ for the photosynthesis. Okay, so these are the most important vegetative organ for the photosynthesis. Why the leaves are called as the most important uh, organ for the photosynthesis? Because the leaves are having chlorophyll in it. They are having the chloroplast, and inside the chloroplast they are having the chlorophyll, that is the green color pigment. And when this green color pigment absorb the sunlight, then it is the process of photosynthesis. It absorbs the sunlight and convert it into organic food. Yani it means that chemical energy is converted into organic form. So that is the photosynthesis. Okay. So in that way, leaves are very, very important. Now here we can see the leaf are having the three main parts. Okay. Three main parts. That is, the first thing is the leaf base. So here you can see the leaf base through which it is attached. This is the leaf base. It is attached to the stem. This is the stem, and with the help of leaf base, it is attached to the stem. Now this leaf base, it forms a slender tube-like structure that is called as petiole. In some of the leaf, the petiole is quite large, whereas in some cases, the petioles are very, very small. Okay, so they are having this petiolar region. Now, this petiole region holds a very green structure, flattened green structure that is called as lamina. That is called as lamina. Here you can see this part is known as lamina. Okay. Now, here what you see, this is at the tip of this leaf. This is called as apex of the leaf. Apex of the, and if you see the laminar, this laminar region, then what you see here, there is a midrib part. This is called as midrib. And this midrib give rise to veins. These are the veins like this. Okay, these are the veins. And this again give rise to veinlets. Veinlets. Okay, so here what we see the leaf base, we see the petiole and the green flattened structure which is called as lamina. Now here at the this at the base we see one more structure. This is called as stipules. It is attached to the leaf base, that is called as stipule. So the leaf is attached to the stem by the leaf base and may bear two lateral small leaf-like structure that is called as stipules. So with the help of leaf base, the leaf is attached to the stem, and by the leaf base, and that not in, it is not present in all the leaves, but yes, in some of the leaves they may bear two lateral small leaf-like structure that is called as stipule. In monocotyledons, the leaf base expands into the sheath, covering the stem part or wholly. So here we can see how we see the sheath-like structure in the case of monocot plant. Here you can see. Okay, so these are the leaves-like structure. These are the leaves and these are the sheath of the leaves. Sheath of the leaves. So that is why it is written in monocot, the leaf base expand. This is the leaf base. Leaf base that expands into a sheath covering the stem partially or wholly. So this part is covering this whole leaf like structure, this stem like structure. So this, the leaf base form the sheath of the on the stem, and this we can see in the case of monocot plant. So if we talk about examples of monocot, then we are having the maize, we are having rice, okay, wheat. These are some of the examples where you can see this sheath-like structure. The leaf base is converted into sheath-like structure that cover up the stem part. Okay. Now, in some leguminous plants, the leaf base may become swollen, which is called as pulvinous. So here we can see in some of the pulvinous formation. So this is one of the example. I'm just drawing. If you can tell me the name of this flower or of this plant, very, very important. And you must have seen this. This is Mimosa pudica. In Hindi, we call it chui moi plant. Okay. So this is the leaf base that is converted into pulvinous. Pulvinous. In some leguminous plant, the leaf base may become swollen. So here the leaves base, you can see it is swollen and it is called as pulvinous. And this we see in some of the leguminous plants. So best example is the Mimosa pudica. As you touch the leaf of this plant, its leaves get closes, and that is why it is called as in Hindi chui moi plant. So pulvinous is the very important feature of this type of plant. The petiole help hold the blade to the light. So the petiolar region is very, very important. You see the petiolar region like this. This is the leaf base. Okay. Now petiole region hold a blade. What is this blade called? The leaf-like structure. This lamina part. This is called lamina, is also called as blade. Blade of leaf. So the petiole hold this lamina part. Okay, this blade of the leaf is held by this petiolar region, and it receives the light. This part is actually flattened structure so that it can receive the maximum amount of light. Long, thin, flexible petiole allow the leaf blades to flutter in winds and thereby cooling the leaf and bringing the fresh air to the leaf. So this leaf blade, it flipper, okay, it flutter in the wind like this, and it removes the previous wind and makes the new air to come there. So the fresh air is coming and bringing the new carbon dioxide, and oxygen is removed by there. So this thin flexible petiole allow the leaf blades to flutter in the wind. This is very, very important. Petiole region helps leaves to flutter. Petiole. And bringing the cooling effect, and so that with the help of this cooling effect, new fresh air comes towards the leaf surface. The lamina of the leaf blade is green, expanded part of the leaf with veins and veinlets. So if you see the lamina of the leaf blade, it is green, expanded part of the leaf with veins and veinlets. So if you see this lamina part, it is extended part, and you can see the midrib, then veins and veinlets, right? So this part you can see in the case of lamina. there is usually a middle prominent vein which is known as midrib. So the leaf is having the mid one. Okay, this mid one. This is the more prominent vein. More prominent vein. Prominent vein, which is called as midrib. Okay. Now the veins provide rigidity to the leaf blade. Okay. Now these are the veins that is coming out from the midrib. So these veins provide one you can say stability, okay, rigidity to the leaf blade and act as a channel of transport of water. So this is very, very important. This is having a channel like structure that brings the water from the petiole region to this lamina part. Okay, from the midrib, the water is moving to the each channel, and from this veins, and from the veins, it is moving to the different veinlets like this. So water is reaching to the every part, every cells of the leaf, and you all know that water is very, very important. That is one of the raw material for the process of photosynthesis. The first raw material is carbon dioxide, and another thing that is required for the process of photosynthesis is the water, right? So this veins provide rigidity to the leaf blade and act as a channel of transport of water, minerals and food material. The shape, margin, apex surface and extent of the incision of the lamina varies in the different. Okay, if we talk about the shape, the margin, the apex surface, extension of the incision of the lamina, that varies with the different leaves. In some of the leaves, the apex region is very small. Here you can see. But if you see the leaf of people leaf, it is having a big apex like this. Okay, this is the apex. So it varies. The apex of the leaves varies. The surface of the leaves varies. Okay. Now the margin, in some of the margin, you can see the dissection like this, as you can see in the case of a China rose leaf. You can see the dissection like this. Okay. But in some cases, you can see the margin like this, in the case of people, but in some cases, it is very smooth. Okay, so it varies upon leaf to leaf. Venation. The arrangement of veins and the veinlets in the lamina of leaf is termed as venation. This is very, very important part of the leaf. So if you see the dicot, I'm just drawing here a dicot. Dicot leaf is somewhat like this. It is not very long. Okay, so this is the midrib. Now it gives rise many veins. Okay, and these veins gave rise to the numerous veinlets like this. So it makes a net like branching and forming this network of the veinlets. Okay, so such a structure you see. And this type of venation is called as reticulate venation. Reticulate venation. Now, if we talk about this, and this you see in the case of dicot plant. Dicot plant. Now, let us see what type of venation we see in the case of monocot. So, if you draw the leaf of a monocot, it is somewhat like this. Long leaf blade. Okay. This also is having a midrib in the mid. Is having the midrib. And parallel to the midrib, they are having different veins. Parallel. They are having parallel veins. So we can write here parallel veins. Right? This is the parallel vein. And this we see in the case of monocot plant. Monocot plant. Okay. So when the veins form a network, the venation is termed as reticulate. So here you can see the reticulate venation. Okay. And this is the feature of the dicot plant. Now, when the veins run parallel to each other within a lamina, here you can see they are running parallel like this. Parallel. Okay. Parallel. So this is called as parallel venation. Okay. Parallel venation. And this is a feature of the monocot plant. This we have already discussed. So leaves of the dicotyledonous plant generally possesses the reticulate venation, while the parallel venation is the characteristics of the most of the monocotyledonous plant. So in the case of monocotyledonous plant, we are having the parallel venation, whereas in the case of dicot, we are having the reticulate venation. We have already seen this on the basis of the roots also. We can just see the root and we can tell that whether the plant is monocot or the dicot, right? If it is having the tap root system, that is the one main root, and it is giving rise to many branches, then we can say that it is a tap root system. And if it is having not one single main root, but it is having a numerous roots that is emerging out from the base of the stem, then it is called as fibrous root system, right? So you can see the uh, roots, and you can tell the plant is dicot or monocot. You can see the leaves. Okay, what you see in the leaves, the venation, the type of venation in the leaves, and you can say that this is a monocot or the dicot. Now we will see the types of leaf. There are different types of leaf. Sorry. The leaf is said to be very simple when its lamina is entire or when incised. The incision do not touch the midrib. So here you can see a leaf is having a midrib and it is having the lamina region. Okay, you can see the incision, but it is not reaching. This is the incision here. Okay, here. These are the notches, you can say, and also you can say the incision. So here you can see the incision or notches. But this notches is not reaching up to the midrib. Okay. So it is written here, incision do not touch to the midrib. So this type of leaf, it is called as simple leaf. This is called as simple leaf. Okay. Simple leaf. When the incision of the lamina reach up to the midrib, breaking it into the number of leaflets, the leaf is called compound. Okay. Now, when this incision, so here we can see one of the leaf. Okay. The incision is made such that it forms a small leaf like this. It is forming small leaf like structure. So this is called as compound leaf. Okay, this is called as compound leaf. So when the incision of the lamina reaches up to the midrib, the breaking into number of leaflets. So what you can say this, these are the leaflets. These are the leaflets, and this is the whole one leaf. This whole is called as one leaf, and these small, these are the leaflets. So a bud is present in the axil of the petiole in both. So if it is having a petiole and it is attached to the stem, then there will be an axil where you can see the bud. And again, if this is attached to the stem, then there is an axil. This is the bud. But the bud will not come out from the this leaflet region. Okay, it will not comes out from the axil of the leaflet. So it is written here, you can see that a bud is present in the axil of petiole in both simple and compound leaf, but not in the axil of leaflets of the compound. This is, if it is written, then it is a wrong statement. Okay, sometime in the multiple type of questions, this statement can be written that this petiole, the axil of the petiole is having the bud, whether it is a compound and a simple leaf, and also in the axils of the leaflets of the compound. No, never in the axils of the leaflets of the compound. You won't find any bud coming out from the axils of the leaflets of the compound. This is very important, and you must remember. The compound leaf may be of two types. Now, we are having two different types of compound: pinnately compound and palmately compound. So here you can see the leaf is pinnately compound. Pinnately compound. Okay, the leaf is coming, the leaflets you can see opposite. Okay, like this. Opposite. This is opposite to this leaflet. This is opposite to this. Like this. This is the arrangement in the case of pinnately compound. Pinnately compound. Right? Now, if you see the palmately compound leaf, then what you see, there is this petiolar region, and from this, at this particular point, you can see the number of leaflets is forming, like as you can see in the case of silk cotton. Okay, so this is the palmately compound, and this is the pinnately pinna. These are also called as, these leaflets are called as pinna. So pinnately compound. Okay, so in pinnately compound leaf, a number of leaflets are present. So they are having a number of leaflets. Okay, and on a common axis, the rachis, which represent the midrib of the leaf, is, as we can see in the case of neem. So this is called as rachis. This is not a midrib, this is the rachis now. This is the compound leaf, pinnately compound leaf. So what it is written here, in the pinnately compound leaf, number of leaflets are present on a common axis. So this is the common axis, and this is called as rachis, which represent the midrib of the leaf. As in, now this is whole one, and this you can say the midrib, but this you can say that it is having the gap of the lamina. So instead of calling midrib, it is called as rachis. Now in palmately compound leaves, the leaflets are attached at a common point. Okay, in the palmately compound leaf, all the leaflets are attached at a common point at the tip of the petiole, and that we can see in the case of silk cotton. That is called as palmately compound leaf. Okay. Now comes here the phyllotaxy. The phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branch. How the leaves are arranged. Okay, that is called as phyllotaxy. So here you can see sometimes in compound leaf, sometimes the leaves are arranged like this. Leaflets are arranged. Okay, so this is called as alternate arrangement. Alternate. You can see the leaflet is here. The next one is not just opposite to it, but it is slightly above to it. Okay. And again, the third one is slightly above to it and the opposite side. So this type of arrangement of the leaves on the stem is called as alternate arrangement. Now, if you see one another type, you can see like this. This you can understand. This is opposite arrangement. The leaflets are opposite arrangement. The leaflets are oppositely arranged on the rachis, right? So this is the opposite arrangement, right? So here you can see this is usually three types: alternate, opposite, and whorl. So where you can see in the case of whorl arrangement, just see how the leaves are arranged in whorl arrangement. At one particular point, you can see the number of leaves are coming out, and again below to it, the leaves are arranged like this. So they are not coming out as a opposite or the alternate, where they are forming the whorl-like structure. So this is the whorl-like structure. Again, this is the whorl-like structure. So this type of arrangement is called as whorl arrangement. We have seen this China rose. Okay, China rose is showing the alternate arrangement. China rose, alternate arrangement. Okay, and what you see in the case of guava, you see opposite arrangement. Opposite arrangement. And in case of Alstonia, very important, Alstonia, you see whorl arrangement. Whorl, right? So these three types of arrangement means how the leaves are attached to the stem. Okay, these three different types are there, and this arrangement is called as phyllotaxy. The phyllotaxy. So in alternate type, the phyllotaxy, a single leaf arises at each node in the alternate manner, as in case of China rose, mustard, and sunflower. So many examples are given here. Okay, you can see in the case of China rose, mustard, and sunflower plant, the alternate arrangement means the single leaf arises at each node, okay, in the alternate manner. Now, what you see in the case of opposite arrangement, in opposite type, a pair of leaves arises at each node and lie opposite to each other, as in the case of Calotropis and guava. Okay, at one particular nodal region, the leaf or leaf are arising at the nodal region and opposite to each other. That you see in the case of Calotropis and guava. Okay, and in some time, what happened? At one nodal region, many leaves are coming out and they are arranged in a whorl. And this type of arrangement is called as whorl arrangement. And that we see in the case of Alstonia. So this is all about this session. In this session, we have completed three parts of any typical plant as a study of the morphology of the flowering plant, that is the root, stem, and leaf. Thank you very much for attending this session.